Hi, my name is Kayla Evans, and I am 34 years old from Monroe, Louisiana. And I am sitting here on my couch in my pajamas, no makeup on, my hair not fixed, and teared up over an episode of Law & Order SVU that I just watched about a soldier that got raped. America's first female Army Ranger, which would be amazing. But it made me think about my sexual assaults, which I have never hidden. I have always been open about to anyone that wanted to hear, needed to hear. It's never been a problem for me to talk about. But sometimes it still amazes me that I do tear up about it. For those of you watching this that don't know, the first time something happened, and this was one that took me a long time to reconcile because it was quite odd. First time something happened was when I was 15 and turning 16, living in Sicily, and there was a soldier living on base who was, I don't know, late 20s, I guess. And he just kind of started working on me psychologically, and as strong as I thought I was, you're never as strong as you think you are, especially at that age. And the reason that woman was difficult to reconcile was that I really didn't fully understand that basically over a period of months he kind of molested me, I guess. He kind of child abuse in a way. Yeah, it was quite odd. And I came, even though my time in Sicily was the most amazing time in my life and changed me for the better, made me a better person, and made so many of my dreams come true because I got to do and see amazing things and go on mission trips, and it was just one of the most amazing times in my life, and I am such a better person for it. I came home back to the States, a very different person in a good way, but also there was something that my parents didn't understand that was going on with me, and they finally got to the bottom of it, and I told them what had happened. But it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I fully reconciled what had happened, because that one was a bit of a tricky one. Even to explain it to you now would be tricky. Then the next thing that happened was when I was 18, my freshman year in college, at Louisiana College, a private Baptist school, not knocking the Baptists. I was on the debate team, and there was a guy who had just graduated, and he was like the god of the debate team or whatever, and we were supposed to have meetings at his house and hang out, and of course there was hazing going on. They hazed me horrifically, which I won't get into, but everyone was supposed to meet up at his house one night, and only a couple people showed, and somebody passed out on the couch, and next thing I know, he tries to rape me. And of course, keep in mind, back then, obviously now, I am a larger woman. Due to a condition I have now, and it's my fault too, I have to admit that, but also due to a condition that makes it very difficult to lose weight. So back then, I was still going through anorexia, so I was a tiny person, and he was a very large guy, so getting away from him was very difficult. I had to basically outsmart him to get away from him and keep him from raping me. And I tried to tell someone was like a big sister to me on the debate team, and she started laughing at me because she said I had a crush on this guy. It wasn't until a few weeks later when I happened to be talking to someone who used to be on the debate team and had gotten off of it because of this guy, his ex-girlfriend. He had assaulted her and tried to kill her, and I told her, and she had me go down to the police station. And after that happened, he actually all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, he tried to have us both killed, and it was just insanity. So that was the second time I was sexually assaulted. The third time, I was 20, and my mom and I shared this townhouse. She lived really out of town in South Louisiana with her husband, but we both had this townhouse so they could stay in it when she came up. And I was working as a barista at Books A Million, and I'd had to stop going to school because basically so much trauma I'd gone through I'd been hazed by actually 2 groups. Anyway, I went through so much emotional hell and everything, and then I had some physical health problems. I tried to go to college once I got back home, and I had to stop, so I was just working at Joe Muggs inside Books A Million. And there was an older guy that everybody had a crush on. Well, one night, several of us after work were out drinking, and we got away with it because a friend of ours knew the owner of the bar. And then we went back to somebody's house. He was a regular at the coffee shop, and I tried pot for the first time, and I was drunk. And this guy couldn't drive. He asked if, he could sleep it off in my house. Stupid me, I'm not thinking, I'm drunk and high. Sure, okay, whatever. I didn't think he would do any harm. Plus, I had a crush on him. What did I know? Wasn't thinking. So, get back there, go to bed. Long story short, he pushes my head between metal head rails and pins my arms and anally rapes me. And I am still so messed up. I'm sorry about the flashes of light. My TV's still on. I'm so messed up that I just crawl into the other room and go to sleep. And I drove back to his car the next day, go to work. I eventually tell my boss, who believed me, but the manager of the store, he didn't believe me. Long story short, I told a guy that I worked with, who was like a big brother to me, and he told the guys that worked at the store, and I guess they made the guy's life a living hell to the point that he quit. But I didn't turn him in. because I knew that, well, I'd been drinking, I'd been smoking pot, I let him in my house. I knew how that would go down in court. Oh, but there's one more. Fast forward a few years more. And you would think by now that things have changed, and they have. And I'm more jaded and da-da-da-da-da. But you also become more sensitive in ways. And yes, I'd had therapy about things. Believe me, I've been in and out of therapy. But I ended up getting into what became an abusive relationship. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically, sexually. You know, started off with little things, but over time, it got bad. Basically, I mean, I won't get into all of it, but he only wanted me when he wanted me, and when he did want me, I had to do things that, you know, I didn't want to do, or keep doing them to the point of pain for me. And the more pain I was in, or if I was crying, that gave him pleasure. Me actually crying gave him pleasure. Eventually, I did get away from him and got a restraining order. They say, on average, it takes 7 times for an abused woman to leave her abuser permanent, like, before it's permanent. Yeah, the 7th time was a charm for me. So there you go. First was the maybe guy. Second was the guy at college. Third was the guy at the coffee shop. Fourth was the ex-boyfriend. 4 times. Yeah, that's a lot of therapy. And a lot of writing. And a lot of amazing people in my life. There have been people. That's where I'm going to start crying. That have been constant in my life. That I would have made it through. Of course, my parents. I have amazing parents. And, my sister, Vicky, my sister, Danielle, the most amazing therapist on the planet. If you ever see this, you know who you are. Oh God, I can't believe I almost didn't mention my brother. I'm sorry, Brad. Of course, Brad. Just the text and the phone calls that he sends have saved me. We have a kind of a code that all I have to text him is this code, and he knows. And over the years, it hasn't just been the sexual assault. There's been so many things that I've had to deal with. But those have been the people that have been the most constant in my life to get me through shit. Not, like I said, not just sexual assault, but just the other shit. And I literally don't know where I would be without them. I don't know if I'd be sitting here talking to whoever's going to watch this. But just because I'm crying doesn't mean that I haven't dealt with it. My message, the reason I'm doing this is that, yeah, it's been a long time. The last time something happened was, I don't know. See, I got the restraining order in the fall of 2008. So yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah, I've dealt with it. I've moved on. I worked it out in therapy, and with prayer and my amazing Savior, Jesus Christ. And thank you, Jesus. Without you, of course, I'd be nowhere. That I need to say that, but to me, it just doesn't even need to be said in a way. But that's for those of you that don't know that about me. But yeah, I'm a survivor. For people that don't think they can get through it, they can. And I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I'm so great. Because, well, I've been through it 4 times. I'm better than you. No. But if I can get it through it 4 times, if I can make it, if I can find a way, it's possible. Yes, I have amazing people in my life, and not everybody has that. I understand. But there are resources out there, many more than I ever thought, especially in my small town. There are resources available. There are people that can help. A lot of people think, oh, I can't afford therapy. There are places you can get free therapy. There are groups, okay? You might not want to be in a group. Fine. There are places that you can get help for free. You don't have to do this alone. This isn't something to be ashamed about. You didn't do this. You weren't weak. We could say, oh, like I said, I was jaded and I thought I should be. No. I'd gotten so jaded about life and relationships, and I was a tough nut to crack. And it happened. I mean, my dad used to pick on the guys that I date and like, you know, good luck with this one. Because I'm tough on people. I mean, I love hard. And I love with all my heart, but I'm tough on people. Because I do give 100% of myself. So yeah, it's not your fault. You were never too strong to be abused. You're never too strong to be assaulted or molested. No one is too strong for that. It can happen to anyone. Even if you don't want the person to be put away, if you don't want to go through a trial or whatever, you can still call the police and just ask for resources. Call them anonymously. If you don't know who else to call them anonymously. Or call your local hospital. Or call a local church, even if you're not Christian. Just ask them anonymously. They can point you somewhere. Just call somebody. Just call. Please. I don't want anybody to go through this alone. Please. And don't ever think that it makes you ugly or dirty. I know you probably, like, you want to take a shower for a month, but you are still beautiful, and you're still incredible. And I know that sounds like such a cliche, but that does not take away from who you are. You are still the same person you were before everything happened. I still the same crazy, tough, jaded person I was before. It just happened. And now, honestly, it made me who I am. Okay, yeah, it's a cliche, but it does. And now it gave me more empathy for people. It made me better able to connect with people. You grow and you become even a better person in ways. There have been people that I've been able to talk to and help. And I've bonded with people over this. No, it's not a club you want to belong to, but once you do, you meet some pretty amazing people that you can share stories with and go, yeah, but we made it. We made it. Oh, and if you're a guy, don't you dare think that you can't step up. I've known a couple guys that went through it, and they felt it was harder. I understand the stigma and social pressure and da-da-da-da. I get that. But please, get help. I love you all.